Is it a bubble? Is it a hype? Is this something waiting to crash, or is this bigger than the internet?
What you have to do is you have to step back and think about it as another technological advancement, simply a wrapper on top of something else without actually having created its own value. It will not last for a long time, right? It has to have a moat.
But when you guys say you're all in on AI, what does that actually mean?
And today, increasingly, it has to be AI first and AI native. If you're not using AI, I don't think you will even exist, because there is so much advancement that has happened that how we can solve for the world sitting from India or from India, because we have the talent, the entire supply chain will change, the manufacturing will change the way we think about it, because these are some.
He's led Twitter India, built at Flipkart, and now backs India's boldest founders as a partner and India head at BAT VC, a fund that's all in on AI. From bubble to breakthrough, from jobs to generational change, Manish Maheshwari joins us to decode where the real action is in India's AI revolution. This is AI Basics. Hi, Manish. Welcome to AI Basics. We're so glad to have you with us. And this is one conversation I've been dying to have because I have so many questions.
I'm excited to be here, Sukriti, and I think thank you for your time as well. I think it would be fun to have this discussion with you.
But first and foremost, Manish, everyone is so pressed for time. So we always start with what is that one takeaway? If people just said, okay, you know what, Manish told me this and it really resonated, what would that be?
So you want to tell about this in the context of general life or in the context of
Both,
my
both.
work?
I think you could give
Yeah.
two in terms
Yeah.
of life advice and AI
Yeah.
advice.
Life advice, I would say never stop learning. I mean, I'm fascinated by the pace of change. So I think having a curious mind and being open to learning new things is the one advice I'll give everyone, no matter what is your age or what is your function. There is so much going on, and I think you cannot just sit back and sort of relax at this point in time. I think you got to be curious and keep learning. That's on the life advice. About my work and the area of AI, I would say that we are in for a transformative change. I mean, I have seen many booms and busts. I mean, I have seen the internet boom, I have seen the crypto boom and everything else, but I kind of feel like what's happening right now is really game changing in multiple ways. Of course, there is hype as well, but it's also, it's fundamentally rewiring what we call work and what we call, achieving an outcome, right? I mean, everything is getting rewired because of the way that the AI, is improving every day.
Yeah, the improvements are staggering. Like every day you wake up. I mean, I thought I could follow AI, but there's so much news, so much happening. But you mentioned an interesting word. You said there's also so much hype. So this is the big question that everybody always has, is because both sides are sitting there. Some are saying this is a bubble, this is so much bigger than the internet was at 25x, we're already crossing those valuations. And the other side is saying there is so much opportunity to be created, we have just started. So which one is it? Is it a bubble? Is it a hype? Is this something waiting to crash, or is this bigger than the internet?
Yeah, so I think what we have to do is we have to step back and think about it as another technological advancement, right, that humanity is seeing, right? And we have been through multiple technological advancements. So if we take a long-term perspective, we'll realize that some part of it is bubble and hype that we need to avoid. But in the process, we are also creating bedrocks of change, which will redefine. Like, let's go very back, right? I mean, 1900 electricity was discovered. There was a lot of hype about it. It was misunderstood initially, but then, of course, over a period of time, we have noticed how electricity has become so transformative, and we can't think about our life today without electricity,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, it's the
And
defining factor which has moved
yeah,
us
and
forward.
and also in more recent times, right? If you look at the internet hype or internet bubble of 2000, right? I mean, huge number of B2C commerce companies that came up like pets.com, Webvan, etc. All of them had, staggering valuation, but they couldn't sustain. But that in the process, what happened was that we also created bedrocks around cloud computing, data centers, logistics, which gave way to like e-commerce companies like Amazon and Amazon Web Services. We also redefined how people were engaging with content, and this whole new game of digital advertising came about. So that was the internet, like, I would say bubble, but it also got us to a lot of bedrocks. Even in crypto, which just happened like 4 or 5 years ago, there's a huge amount of hype around NFTs and the JPEGs and NFT JPEGs and speculative tokens. But then in the process, we also got something like, which I would call Bedrock, is like decentralized finance and the protocols around that, the instant payment systems that we have now, the blockchain system. So, and then also more recently, just about 2 years ago, there was metaverse as well, right? I mean,
Yes.
everyone's going crazy about virtual real estate and avatars. But the bedrock that got created there was about real-time 3D engines, AR, VR hardware, and of course GPUs, which became the defining thing when it came to now AI, and NVIDIA is leading there. So my view is that yes, I mean, there's a lot of hype today in the AI space, and everyone's trying to create a wrapper around existing LLMs and saying, okay, this can do something better, but they don't have a mode, they don't have a flywheel, so they won't be able to sustain for a long time, and they don't have proven unit economics. Clearly, you have to have a discerning eye, and you need to think about what is the real customer problem, and how an AI native approach would try to solve that problem in a new and an interesting way. We invest in the bedrock, we don't invest in the bubble, right? I mean, that's why
So,
we
what
avoid.
is the bubble? I want to know. And everybody wants to know what is that part? I mean, it's so confusing because everybody is getting into chips. LLMs, people say maybe in India, not possible. Is it agentic? Is it where? What is the bubble? What is not a bubble? It's so confusing because everybody has tied the entire value chain today to the bubble.
Yeah, so I think what is bubble? Like, I mean, I can give you some thing like a mental model and some logic, right? I mean, if something is simply a wrapper on top of something else without actually having created its own value, it will not last for a long time, right? It has to have a moat, and it has to have some kind of a business logic or unit economics. Only then it can sustain. If it is simply AI is a marketing feature and you add something AI on top of whatever was there, that would be a bubble. And I think you'll see that a lot of companies have come up, they have changed their domain name from .com to .ai. And
Everything is
suddenly,
AI today.
yes,
I was
exactly.
looking
And
at
then
some companies and everybody has just added AI somewhere or the
yes.
other.
So if you just do that without rethinking the whole logic of, what is the customer problem, what is the unique value you are delivering, then I think that will not last for a long time. Now, what is a bedrock here is like from our perspective, when we think about AI, we invest in, vertical AI, which go deep into a customer need and the workflow of a customer, and then they have some kind of a data mode, right? I mean, you have to have a data mode. There is going to be some interesting play around AI infrastructure
Mm.
and operations around machine learning. Um, you know, we will also have to rethink about the entire supply chain will change. The manufacturing will change the way we think about it, because these are some very old school industries which have not changed for a long time: healthcare, manufacturing, supply chain, regulation, compliance. You know, now you talked about agentic AI. That's a very interesting proposition. A lot of people are working on it. They're trying to figure things out. Uh, Many people have built those agents which can do like specific tasks like book your flight tickets or book your hotel. I think there is some value to it, but it has to be deeper than that. It has to, first of all, understand the context much better, understand you much better, and it should be able to work with other agents out there and other systems out there to deliver an end-to-end solution. And I think I don't want to get into technicalities, but of course, those protocols are being developed. Like in the internet world, we had the HTTP protocol. In the AI world, the MCP protocol is coming up, and a lot of people are innovating around it. But we'll have to wait and watch. I mean, to be very honest, Sukirti, I think even I am learning every day. What I'm saying today will probably become, partially wrong in like 2 to 3 months' time. So
Yes.
don't hold me to it. I think things are changing very fast. But I think when I step back and think about it, I mean, the question I ask is like, what is the customer problem? What is the human problem that you're solving? And how are you solving it in a way which is differentiated and has a durable advantage? And can you put a business around it? And can you sustain that business? I mean, those core questions is what I ask. And that allows me to separate the wheat from the chaff. I think lot of noise here. So you have to then pick those signals around, is this really going to sustain itself or not?
No doubt. Because, see, I think India, we're still waiting for our deep sea or our Palantir, one of these moments that says, yes, the country has also arrived on the AI map. But when you guys say you're all in on AI, what does that actually mean? That are you just focused, your fund is focused 100% in investment in AI?
Yeah, so because we don't have a legacy baggage, we are looking at this whole thing as like, okay, if we were to start a company today, if you have to invest in something today, what would that company look like or that startup look like? And today, increasingly, it has to be AI first and AI native, right? I mean,
Yes.
like if you're not using AI, I don't think you will even exist because there is so much advancement that has happened that you don't have to hire 10 engineers or 100 engineers. You can do the work with one single engineer and sort of leveraging AI as a co-pilot, right? So that's why when we say AI first, AI native, that's what we mean that, okay, it has to be, natively an AI startup. But within that as well, there are two verticals we focus on. One is fintech, financial technology, and we believe that a lot of changes will happen there about financial services, wealth management, all that stuff, and also around enterprise SaaS in the sense that, you know, companies purchase software to simplify their processes and to get efficiency and to do things that humanly is not possible. Now, in the past, software was being sold as a service, and that's the SaaS software world. And you charge companies for using your software. You sell enterprise license. Increasingly now, AI is penetrating all of that, right? So service has become a software in a way that you can build a tool around that. You can develop deeper understanding about the enterprise needs, and you can have customized AI tools for them. And that's sort of the new enterprise SaaS, which is all AI powered now. And that's going to be a big deal because almost everything you think about it, whether you are using logistics or healthcare or financial services, even functions like HR, finance, supply chain, everything is going to be rewired. As compared to in the olden world, you look at a workflow and you optimize the workflow, or you incrementally add something here and there, or you automate a few workflow and say, okay, I have implemented software in that. But today, the whole organizational structure itself is changing. I mean, the middle layer is completely vanishing. There is no need to become a people manager. Smaller companies can actually do things much faster, enabled by AI. So we have to be open to those possibilities. And I think I can see a big change coming in large organizations as well.
Now, Manish, coming back to this question about SaaS, because I forget which one it was, but one of these coding companies, their founder was very vocal in saying that there will be no more SaaS and all SaaS companies will go away because you will be able to, with one line of code, generate any kind of software that you need.
Yeah, I mean, that is partially true in the sense that, you don't need to have a large number of coders. And also, you don't have to, everyone doesn't have to know coding, but they can still produce something very compelling enough. So, a lot of progress is being made there. But having said that, providers of similar services like Lovables or Replit, essentially today what they are doing, as we know it, is they are helping you improve the UI UX and give you the first prototype very quickly. But
Yes.
then when you want to build something which is enterprise grade and you have to think about security, backend, etc., you still need people who know technology. But over time, that may also undergo a change. So we'll have to wait and watch. But I can see a lot of change coming.
Very interesting because they're saying there are lots of funding that's happening also in the Indian ecosystem. You talked about two specific areas. Now, you talked about fintech being a very interesting one and enterprise, but you see so many founders. What are all the other areas that you're seeing a lot of interest in India or a lot of startups kind of saying, okay, I'm going to focus on or solve this problem?
See, in India, right? I mean, a lot of money is going into B2C side of things, like, I mean, gaining the market share and solving, like picking up any kind of product or a vertical and creating a B2C kind of approach to that. We are not into that. I mean, we are more into investing in companies which have a technical moat, which are technology-driven companies, and companies that have a revenue line, because typically we look at the ARR, which is the analyzed run rate,
Yes.
and then we use that as a way to value a company and then invest. But I see in India, there's a lot of innovation happening across all the areas, right? I mean, like you have a lot of young, bold founders who are coming up and, they have high ambitions and they are now enabled by AI. So they are also not constrained by resources, or they're also not constrained by, exposure. I think both they have, like they have knowledge and they have the support as well. And the unique thing about AI is that it is also appending the whole traditional VC model, right? If you look at the traditional VC model, you would pick a few companies, you would invest in them, you will wait for 12 to 18 months to see whether they are delivering well, then you'll double down or you'll cut the cord. But with
But
AI
they
coming
become,
in,
they triple their value in 12 to 18
yeah.
months.
But with AI, see, I mean, a small amount of money can go a long way, right? You don't need a lot of investment. And so your throughput can be much faster. You can know about winners or losers much earlier. Also, you can generate a lot more value with very little capital. Sometimes you feel like even founders even don't need too much capital, right? So I think
Yeah.
even the VCs have to rethink, what is the right equation? Like is your entire return based on a few home runs and then remaining being average players or losers, or you can have a much larger portfolio now because you can have multiple companies doing above average, and you can have a few home runs as well, but then the whole portfolio creation or portfolio construction approach has to also undergo a change for venture capitalists.
Wow. So there's a change happening everywhere. It's not only just at, it's even at the investment layer that you guys are having to think
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah, and my only message to Indian founders is that, look, many of them, if you think about it, like they are still caught up in the feature kind of thinking. I think they should elevate them to more of a platform thinking, because feature is going to be so easy to build. Like even if you're not a coder, by simply saying something in few words of English, you can
Yes.
build a feature these days, right? So I think if you're a real technical founder and you really know the game, start creating platforms, and then you can orchestrate value creation there. You can lock in data, you can create a lot of alpha there, right? And also as a country, right, we need slightly bolder moonshots, right?
Yes.
So when I say moonshot, that would be like data sovereign LLMs for the country, AI powered public services, global SaaS exports. And see, we have to move away from AI for India to AI from India, right? I mean, it's a very
Mm,
simple statement,
nice.
because what we say is like, we always think like, what's in it for India in this? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, like, don't, you know, limit your ambition to just like, okay, what's in it for India? Like, you can think about like how we can solve for the world sitting from India or from India, because we have the talent and we also have amazing and unique data sets in India. I mean, it's a very large, diverse country. Every problem you think about it, we have enough of those problems. So if we can solve them in a way that we can try something in India but have a global ambition, I think that will serve us really well.
So it's very interesting because I was just having a conversation earlier with another friend of mine who's sitting in the valley, and he's also become a big investor. And he was saying today, though, the valley is just like how it was in the dot-com days. Kids are leaving school, they're starting, there's so many problems to be solved, there's so much opportunity. Are you seeing that same type of fervor in Bangalore or in India, or is it a much more kind of tepid approach and saying, okay, because
Yeah.
he's saying there's just mass. Every corner now, there's an AI startup coming up.
You ask a good question. So I split my time equally between US and India. US is, of course, if you look at Bay Area, it's far ahead. I think there is a lot more money there. And also, all the large AI companies, they're all headquartered in the, Silicon Valley, SF Bay Area. So clearly there is a lot more AI in the air there. Having said that, India is also picking up, but India is more on the application side of it. And I think in my mind, that's nothing wrong with that. The fundamental model building and the deep tech around that is sort of more in the Bay Area. But I see that people are now, Indian founders are taking it up and solving unique Indian problems. I'm yet to see more of a bigger, bolder bets, right? Which sort of parallels that what is happening in the Bay Area. But I think in my mind, it's a question about a bit of an exposure and also evolution. The ambitions are growing in India, and also the money is also coming in. So I think in my mind, it's only a matter of time.
Awesome. Now, you talked about the fact that, yes, we are thinking maybe a little bit small and we need to expand. But what do you look for? How do you, because everybody today says AI, they have a great background. How do you say this team versus this team? Or is it just a gut feel that says, okay, maybe these guys are onto something? Because things are changing. Like I said, you can't even follow the news anymore because it's happening so fast.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, like I read up every day a lot, and I still feel like I need to catch up. And I think I completely empathize with you on that one. What we look for in a founding team is, do they have clarity of problem? Like, do they really understand the problem? And clarity of problem is greater than cleverness of tech, right? Just knowing the tech and being able to build something of tech from tech is a great skill set, but you have to have the right orientation, where to apply it. And that's when the clarity of problem comes in. You need to have a very clear understanding of what is the customer problem. And then anchored in that problem is then we will think about, okay, how do I solve it using technology, right? That's number one. Number two, we look at is deep founder problem fit and adaptability, because building something is a long game. So you need to think about the fitment, saying, okay, is there a fitment between the founder, their thinking, their orientation in life with the problem they have picked up? And are they also coachable, moldable, and adaptable, so that because things will change a lot. And if we see that rigid mindset or like a misfit early on, we then don't sort of move forward. And the third is, of course, speed. Execution speed is very important these days. I mean, teams have to move very quickly. I mean, no longer PowerPoint, but build the product and the prototype, because these days anything can be built like in a few hours. So
Yeah.
why pitch using a PowerPoint? I love the founders who send me a working product, send me a link to something that is working, give me access to their product so I can try it for a day or two. That's the best way these days, right? I mean, and if you have an idea, building something, even if you don't know coding, is not difficult at all, right? And fourth is, of course, the timing has to be right. I mean, there has to be a very strong thesis in terms of why now. Why are we doing it now? Why is the right time? And how are we gonna sort of make sure that it meets the need of the hour, right? Because you can build something great, but you may mistime it and therefore it will not
Yes.
take off, right? So those are the things I would look at. And of course, you know, over a period of time, you build the maturity in terms of like, okay, how do you tease these things out in one or two discussions with the founders when you look at their product, when you look at their, the way they approach problems. I think that's what we do.
Now, Manish, this is a question that is on everybody's mind because people look at these multi-billion dollar valuations, right? And then you look at these multi-million dollar salaries. So, do you see motivations are aligned to actually building a product, or is it like the flurry of what these massive news releases are showing us and saying, oh my God, I need to catch this train?
Yeah, no, I think those make the headline, but see, those multi-million dollar salaries are happening to only very few people. It's like not even 1% of the talent pool, right? So, of course, if you get one of those things, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's worthwhile to consider whether you want to get $100 million or $10 million package and do it for someone else. But then for far majority, that's not available, number one. Number two, if you are passionate about something and you can build something, you can get that much of funding for your own company. So why not do that? Like, so the question I would ask a talented young engineer or a talented young person in the AI is, okay, do you have skill sets that are really valuable? You have two choices. You can work for others and get a good pay package, or you can build something. The second option works only when you personally are invested in the problem and you have the perseverance and the patience to carry through the ups and downs of a startup, right? I mean, that's the, I would say, decision tree I would give them. So going back to your question, these salaries that make the headline happen to only few. The 99% of people do not get that. And if you are an average person, I think life is going to be tough because AI is going to do many of the things that you were doing. So you have to think about what's your spike. Where are you good at, and sort of go deeper into areas where you're good at versus sort of being generally good at many things, right?
No, I love this word spike because I've been hearing it from all the
Yeah.
people that are writing college essays right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
No,
know, they're like,
yeah.
how are we going to spike our essays? But now coming back to what is that spike that you see in terms of skill set that a person needs to have? Is it a basic engineering degree or what is it? Or are non-engineers also as attractive in this space?
Yeah, so I started this by saying curiosity and willingness to learn is the only
Yeah.
spike that matters, because everything else it's available there. I mean, your AI can be a tutor as well. I don't even need an engineering degree. Like if you understand a customer problem and you have the passion for that and you have openness to learn and you're curious, you can build a world-beating product sitting in your bedroom without needing anything else, just internet connection.
Now you've got a daughter heading to college, so this becomes very, very personal. What are you telling her? What's the advice that you're giving her? Because I think that will resonate with a lot of people that are trying to understand how should I focus my career? Where should I look at? Because see, software engineering and software development was the middle class stream. Now, what should be the next?
Hmm. It's a tough one. I think as a father, I struggle as well. So I won't say that I have all the answers. And many things I say, my daughter doesn't
They
think
don't
that I
listen
am
to
on the
us
right track.
anyway.
Yeah. But my general thinking is like, I mean, pure, like just knowing something is not enough. Like, I mean, knowledge is out there, right? You have to know what question to ask and when, and in what context. So context becomes important. Framing your question become important because all the answers are there. Even for people who are going for STEM degrees like engineering, STEM alone, in my view, personally, I mean, I've been a fellow at Harvard. I have like been coaching many young people. And on top of your STEM, you need to have very strong storytelling and social awareness to be successful today.
What kind of jobs, like what kind of skills do you see your companies hiring? What are the type of people? So if somebody's looking at saying, okay, you know what, I'm going for a degree right now, here are the ones that I want to really be in AI, what should I do?
Traditional degrees will become less relevant because see, no college, no universities, even at Harvard, like I was there for a long time, and I mean, everyone's struggling to figure out what to even teach. Not just teach, how to even evaluate people, because today they don't even know what to test, right? So my view would be the traditional colleges degrees will be less relevant. Even jobs, like jobs, the nature of job is changing. In fact, what we call a job, which included like, okay, you will do these activities and these are your outcomes. Even that definition is changing because you don't have to do those activities. We have to stop thinking from the perspective of education to get a job, but we have to start thinking about in terms of where there is an opportunity to create value for society, and how do I create that value for society so that I am able to make money by delivering that value. I mean, in fact, there's one book I read long time, sometime back. It was a book called Ikigai, right? Which had a very good
Yes.
Venn diagram saying, find out what are you passionate about, find out what the society needs, and find out, and then will they pay for it or something like that. And that Venn diagram, the intersection is what you have to be on. And I
Yes.
think that's a very good way to think about it. That okay, what is it that I'm passionate about? Where do I feel like I get my energy? And then how can I match that with what is the need of society today? And if I can be in that intersection, that's the work that I need to do. And I think it has to move away from traditional job seeking mentality. Sometimes you feel like, hey, 4 years of college, is it really worth it
That's a
with
lot of
all
kids
that
are
money?
asking that question.
Everyone's asking that question. And I think everyone's in for a root shock, I would say. My personal view, I think
Now you
people will
brought
go
up
there
the
for like community building. They might go there to have fun, but I think from a hardcore skills and employment perspective, it may not help a lot.
so you brought up the difficult question that everybody is asking. So will AI create more jobs or will we have less jobs? Because I think this is the big fear, or
Yeah, so I
different
think
type of jobs.
yeah, I think my view would be see, someone told me about this concept called Jevons paradox, which is basically that when a new technology comes in, the lot of old jobs go away, right? But with new technology coming in, the society's expectation increases, plus new problems come up that have to be solved. So it creates new category of jobs, right? So I'll give you a classic example in AI, right? Well, AI will reduce the number of requirements for engineers, so the coding jobs will go away, but it will also create problems around privacy and responsible AI and
Security.
ethics, security, cybersecurity, all of that. So those jobs may go away, right? You might want to think about how to train an AI model to be responsible, how to make it ethical, how to have the value system that we want to create for this world. And those jobs will go up. In fact, many companies are hiring people for public policy, for government affairs, because regulation is going to be big now on this one.
Yes.
They're hiring for responsible and ethical AI. So those jobs will go up. The existing jobs, which AI can do much better, much faster, at lower cost, they will certainly go away. And I think we are seeing that delayering and right sizing happening in every large company now.
So yes. Now, what is that one investment that you think will become your big unicorn? Because everybody is obsessed with what is the next unicorn that's coming out.
See, again, I mean, things are changing so fast, and I'm also learning. I think anything I say is going to be like people might say, hey, this is so foolish. But personally, right? Personally, I am very bullish on voice and voice AI. So,
Okay.
voice driven interface. See, think about it this way, right? We were forced to type and interact with software through a keyboard because voice was not very advanced and developed.
Yes.
But as a human being, our natural way of interacting is through voice and through facial and hand gestures. Okay. So if you can build something that is able to take the natural human way of interfacing and delivers value to you and gets your job done without you having to type something, it is going to be so much more powerful. It's almost like speaking to someone and things get done, and that too in your native language. I think those are the companies I'm waiting to see from India. US will not solve it because US is like English is the standard language, and I think
Yeah.
everyone is very comfortable typing in English. But when I look at India, if you look at even the consumption of media, in India, the media consumption is primarily video. And
Yes.
why is that? And that to short video, because we are very visual, we are very expressive. That's how the Indian population is, right? So I think in my mind, a voice-based interface to solve, Indian problems with Indian languages, I think that's going to be something very big. And I think it might overshadow everything else that we are doing. And I think it's going to be a matter of a year or two. We will see something of that kind coming.
And I think it will actually democratize because if I look at even my voice chats on WhatsApp, they're just sending me voice chats, right? Because
Yeah.
they can, even my whole staff can now communicate with me.
Exactly. I mean, it's a very unique perspective you gave me because today, if I look at it with my maid, when I have to talk to her on WhatsApp, I don't send her a text on
No,
WhatsApp. I don't
I have
write
to
it.
speak.
I just send a voice message, and she also sends me a voice message. And I think in my mind, WhatsApp becomes the platform through which this voice messages are being exchanged. The question now then becomes that why can't we do it with everything else in our life?
Yes.
Right? Why can't I just speak to something and say, hey, buy me this or get me this or do the following things? And it should understand that, understand my tonality because voice has so many variations, right?
Yes.
And in my mind, there's a lot more we are yet to see. I mean, we have barely scratched the surface of AI.
No, and I love this because I think that is really what is going to make AI accessible actually to the billions of people in India. Because otherwise, we're just looking at a very small upper crust. Because when voice became popular on WhatsApp, everybody has started using it big time,
Yep.
and going back to that. But now, before I let you go, I have a couple of rapid fire questions for you just to
Sure, sure.
understand how you're thinking. So, one AI tool that you personally cannot live without right now.
So if I look at my life today, I just cannot live without ChatGPT plus Perplexity combo, right? And that's
Okay.
sort of my everyday life. That's my team member, that's my assistant. I think I get so much leverage by using ChatGPT and Perplexity every day.
Awesome. What's the most overhyped buzzword in AI today?
I would say it's AGI. A lot of people are talking about AGI. I think we are still in the applied AI era. So there's so much to be done even before we get to that.
What's the next big Indian AI startup or founder that we should be watching?
I think there are quite a few. I mean, people talk about Servam. There is also something called Socket AI. I've looked at them. There are quite a few interesting ones coming up. In my mind, I think it's still early days for India. I mean, I won't say that, okay, people have arrived and everything, they should call it a victory. But my view would be early days. A lot of interesting stuff will come up very quickly in India.
One book, podcast, or thinker that has shaped how you think about technology and AI.
So I was a fellow at a Harvard Kennedy School, and Professor Jeremy Weinstein is the dean there, and he has a book he wrote about. It's called System Error, and that's really thought provoking. It talks about technology and sort of impact on society, policy, etc. Also, it's good to listen to Fei Fei Lee's Stanford talks. I think those are some good ones. I also listen to a lot of podcasts by many of the VC firms, including the A16Zs of the world. So
Yes.
there's so much to learn, I think. And Spotify is my go-to tool and platform to do that. I love it. I think knowledge is everywhere. I always feel like 24 hours in a day is not enough for me. I need more time than 24 hours now.
Now, what's the one piece of advice you would like to give to 16-year-olds out there?
Okay, so my advice there would be don't fear AI. Learn it and learn to lead it in the sense that understand how it operates and understand how you can use it to become a better person. I think I always use the word better person because you can use it in a way that makes you a worse version of yourself. But I think having those value systems intact is very important. So don't fear it, learn about it, and use it to become a better version of yourself. And curiosity, remain curious, like always ask why something is happening this way, what is causing it. The why questions are very important in life.
No, I really like that, Manish. It's very motivating because, I think a lot of times we are right now crippled a little bit like, okay, what is this AI? A lot of people are trying to understand it. Is this going to be a bigger future for us or a lesser opportunity? And I think you framed it very well that there are so many problems to be solved, because this is just creating so much new stuff that we've never seen before.
Yes, yes. I mean, like we are fascinated because it can type so much better, it can write so much better, it can do many things which we struggle to do as human beings. But then, of course, the world has much bigger problems to solve. So if we can go and solve those problems, the world will become a better place.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Manish.
Lovely to speak to you, and thank you for your time as well.